In breaking news, the Senate has been suspended after One Nation leader and Senator Pauline Hanson wore a burqa in the chamber, repeating a stunt she's already pulled in 2017. Senator Hanson has been trying to introduce a bill to have burqas and face coverings banned in Australia. M.Canavan is a Nationals senator. How convenient. Welcome. What happened?
Yeah, well, pretty much as you described there, Patricia.
Did you see it?
I was there at the time it started. I wasn't there when the Senate suspended, so I can be with you right now, unless we are meant to get back to our job at some point. But, yeah, the clown show continues in the Senate. We continue to see these sort of stunts and circus acts constantly interrupt the work we should be doing for the people. I think Pauline Hanson needs some new material because, as you say, she just recycled this from 80 years ago. Look, for a party that's, you know, it is polling higher.
It is 18% of that last Redbridge poll.
It's up that high. I don't know if this is the right move for them, because while this might attract the interest of a small fringe in our society, I just don't think Middle Australia like the Parliament being debased like this. Why
do you see it as a debasing?
Because we're there to be a deliberative chamber, right? To be a bit more cerebral, I really like the quote that's attributed to George Washington, that when Americans set up the Senate, our Senate's somewhat based on it was meant to be a saucer to pour a hot issue in so it would cool down the political issue and you could consider it in the cold light of day. Our Senate has unfortunately become the opposite. It's a kettle, it boils things up. You put an issue into the Senate and it becomes a lot hotter. It's harder to get the right answer, to do things, as I say, in a deliberative fashion. And the problem is the crossbench in the Senate, who only now need a vote of around 14%, but really you only need about 10% primary vote, you'll get elected. Their oxygen is these types of stunts. So they just do more of this sort of stuff because that attracts attention, it gets enough people to vote for them, but it does nothing to help govern our country and make our society better.
You said that you don't think it will work for Pauline Hanson, but you know you also said
I don't think it will work for her to become a risk to get her to get a lot of seats in the House of Representatives, right? Where you need to win 30-40% of the primary vote to be competitive in the House of Representatives. In the Senate, as I say, you only need 10%. So it's a different type of politics, and I don't like this type of politics because I say I don't think it is tackling the proper issues we face.
And
a lot of issues we face.
It's not just the disrespect of wearing it in the Senate, is it?
That too, absolutely.
Is it that, or is it just the act itself?
I think this is disrespectful to Muslim Australians as well. I don't support you ridiculing people who have certain multicultural dress standards. It's not appropriate. You can make a fair point, a reasonable point about migration settings, about integration, about assimilation. That Pauline has a voice to do that in the Senate. But doing this kind of stunt, I think it weakens her case, it cheapens our Parliament, and most Australians, I think, will look away in disgust. And
the Senate's been suspended, as you say. It might go back and you'll have to leave. But was that an appropriate response to this?
Look, I wasn't in there at the time at all. I decided to leave because it was a waste of my time. But look, apparently, it wasn't just so obviously there was the initial stunt, and then the other crossbenchers were all getting up and getting stuck into Pauline. And look, you know, you've got to put Senator Thorpe in the same category. She's done all this sort of stuff, heckling the King, ripping up pieces of paper and motions in the Senate, interrupting the business of the Senate time and time again. Senator Faruqi the other week went off on a screed and mentioned white people and stuff. I mean, you know, we've got to get rid of this type of politics, or hopefully Australian people see enough of this and turn away in disgust and don't vote for it. You know, these guys, they're like the donut man in that Simpsons episode. They only live if you give them attention and look at them. If you don't look at them, they go back to being statues.
I like the Simpsons comparison. Thanks for bringing that to us.
It was Treehouse of Horrors.
It's a funny one, though, because, you know, for us too, like, you cover it because this is a senator that's done it, and yet we are talking about it. I was planning to talk to you about something else, but now this is broken and we're talking about it. And that's contradictory too. I suspect that at some point the Senate will try and condemn Senator Hanson. Would that be the right thing?
Probably, but unfortunately I suppose we've done that many times to other senators. It doesn't stop it. We've got to stop it by not getting them elected.
But is it important to condemn it, to send a statement?
I'd say so. I think the issues are here that there has been a slipping of standards, so we've allowed certain stunts to happen, holding up dead fish, as I say, Senator Thorpe, constant interruptions and interjections to the Senate's business, and other senators then think, well, if they're going to let them take an inch, I'll run a mile.
Is it all the same, though? I mean, the burqa is particularly
and,
about targeting one community.
Well, look,
right?
look.
I don't know how it offended the fisher.
Yeah. But, I mean, all of these things are not helpful to our debate. So I think we should condemn them all. Unfortunately, they have been elected by the Australian people, so there's limited things we can do in the Parliament. The real test is how you vote. Vote for people that actually want to have a debate, not play dress-ups in the Senate.
Play dress-ups. So I have a question for you.
Yes.
Your colleague Barnaby Joyce is considering, right? It's perfect to ask this question. It's considering joining Pauline Hanson. Hasn't made a call yet. They're going to have a meal this week. I don't know if she's going to be wearing a burqa at the meal, but that's kind of her stunts. So she wants to get him over the line. What do you say to Barnaby Joyce after a stunt like this?
Well, you'll have to ask him. But yeah, look, I have said to him many times, just, you know, look before you leap, Barnaby. I mean, Pauline obviously has a degree of respect in the community. She's a star. I respect the fact that she's been in politics for a long time and she's been very consistent. Give her that. But she has struggled to build a team. She has struggled to this. She's lost a lot of people from her team over the years. And I am in politics to win, not to be pure. It's not a purity test for me. It's not getting everything I want or my way 100% of the time. I want to win. I want to win for the people I represent. I want to win on the issues that I care about. I want Australia to win. And to do that in this place, you need to have the numbers. Ultimately, to win, you've got to have 76 in the House of Reps and 39 in at the Senate. Now, take the net zero issue. I've been making this point to Barnaby. Yes, we've both been against net zero. Pauline's against net zero. Well, the scoreboard now is Pauline Hanson has 4 senators against net zero. On the Liberal National Party side of the ledger, we have 70 members of Parliament against net zero. And as I say, we might not be as pure as One Nation as some people would like, but we're a lot closer to winning. And ultimately, that's the objective.
Just final question on the environment laws. There might be a deal. The government wants a deal with the coalition, but you don't like the laws. Would you cross the floor on it? No, I'm not. I don't. I'm not intending. I don't think I will. I suppose I'll reserve my right. But look, well, you do reserve your right, right? So if there's a deal,
I've got it right. But I don't think it'll come to that, Patricia. I think we'll work through these things. But going to my broader point here about the Senate being a deliberative body, I don't see any need for this to be passed this week. I don't think the minister's made a very coherent case for why these laws have to be passed this week. The Senate has called for an inquiry to report over 3 months, or 3 and a bit months with the break over Christmas. That's perfectly reasonable. These are very, very detailed laws. The laws go over 400 pages. There's a lot in them. There were a lot of unintended consequences the first time we passed the EPBC Act. It is absolutely appropriate to have a proper inquiry into this. The reason the minister wants a deal is because he wants a Christmas present. But I think what's more important is we get the laws right. And his basic negotiating tactics is to us that, well, if you don't pass them this week, I'll go damage the Australian economy by doing a deal with the Greens. Now, how is that in any way responsible behaviour?
Isn't that also put some pressure on your side?
Yeah, but it's just a negotiating contact. It's not.
But if he gets a deal with the Greens, if you think that's worse for the economy, don't you have to step up?
But shouldn't the Australian government be trying to make the best decision for Australia and our economy? Well, where is the minister's priorities here? Is his priorities just to have a win before Christmas, or is his priorities to protect the Australian environment in a way which still allows us to have a functioning economy, to attract jobs and investment? I never hear him talk about that. And this is the other frustration. It's nowhere near in the same league of what Paulie's done, but this place becomes a political scoreboard. Who racks up the political wins for the politicians? I want the wins to be in favour of the Australian people in terms of creating jobs, in terms of having a healthier environment. That should be the focus. The minister, in this case, I don't think he's had any focus on the Australian people. It's all about the little processes that go on in Canberra.
All right, Senator, thanks for coming in.
Thanks, Patricia.